Chaos erupts outside the U.S. consulate in Karachi. That's the POV from a burning police truck. Hundreds of pro-Iran protesters just stormed the gates after U.S. and Israeli airstrikes took out Iran's supreme leader. Casualties? Yeah, we've got M. Local reports say at least 5 dead, dozens injured. This isn't a protest, it's a riot. And it's just the opening scene. The trigger? A massive, coordinated strike on a high-security compound outside Tehran. According to sources within the Israeli Mossad, who are, for once, not staying quiet, US F-35s and Israeli long-range missiles turned the place to dust overnight. The target? A meeting of Iran's top Revolutionary Guard commanders. The bonus? The supreme leader was there. Spoiler alert, he didn't make it. Iran state TV is in full mourning mode. Black banners, somber music, the whole production. They've just announced a 40-day national mourning period. That's the standard for martyrs. In their narrative, he's a martyr. In the West's, a strategic takedown. The gaslighting on the global stage is already epic. But here's the kicker, the real tea. The initial strike footage shows multiple buildings leveled. A total wipe. Yet, an unnamed intelligence official, whispering to Reuters, dropped this bomb. We have indications the strike's primary objective was a complete decapitation. Not all VIPs were confirmed at the scene. Translation, they wanted to wipe the entire top shelf clean. Did they? Cue the reality TV cut to Mar-a-Lago. Former President Trump, on his Truth Social platform, posted a single word, deterrence. Then, 2 minutes later, another, weakness is provocative. His supporters are eating it up, calling Biden a Karen for not doing this sooner. His critics are screaming about World War III. The comments section is a war zone. Back in Pakistan, the scene is pure Hollywood action. Protesters are waving Iranian flags, burning American ones. Police are firing tear gas. Someone just drove a forklift through the consulate's outer perimeter wall. The U.S. State Department issued a statement, "We are aware of the violent demonstrations and are monitoring the situation. The safety of our personnel is paramount." Yeah, no kidding. Meanwhile, in Tehran, the succession drama is the only show in town. The Assembly of Experts is in emergency session. The late leader's son, Mojtaba Khamenei, is a frontrunner. But so is the hardline president, Ebrahim Raisi. It's a power struggle wrapped in a religious crisis, packaged with a national security emergency. Who's really in charge? Nobody knows. And that's a terrifying cliffhanger for the region. The official Iranian narrative is a masterpiece of controlled rage. State media calls it a cowardly act of terrorism by the Zionist regime and its American masters. Hold on to your hats, folks. Because the plot twist in Tehran just went full soap opera. We're talking a long-lost heir, leaked war plans, and a president with a poker face. POV, you thought the succession crisis was messy? You haven't seen anything yet. The bombshell dropped this morning from a shadowy intelligence channel linked to Mossad. It wasn't just a name. It was a face. A woman. Early 40s. Living under a false identity in, get this, Vienna. According to the leak, she is the confirmed granddaughter of the late Supreme Leader, a direct survivor from a branch of the family everyone thought was erased decades ago. Her existence, and her location, are now the world's worst-kept secret. Why does this matter? Because in the theocratic power structure of Iran, lineage is everything. It's divine legitimacy. This isn't just a relative, it's a potential political atom bomb. The leak, dripping with classic gaslighting finesse, asks one question: who in Tehran's inner circle knew she was alive, and who kept her hidden as a contingency plan? Cue the paranoia. But Israel wasn't done. In what analysts are calling a psychological blitzkrieg, a separate data dump hit dark web forums. Thousands of hours of audio logs, satellite coordinates, and target lists. Not for Gaza. For Iran. We're talking power grids in Isfahan, Revolutionary Guard barracks in Shiraz, even civilian infrastructure. The message wasn't subtle: we've had a gun to your head for years. Your internal chaos just made our finger twitch. The reaction from Tehran was instantaneous and furious. State TV called it a desperate Zionist fabrication. But the denial lacked its usual steel. Social media inside the country, what's left of it, is buzzing with a dangerous question: is our leadership lying to us about everything? Meanwhile, the power vacuum is turning toxic. Hardline President Ebrahim Raisi gave a fiery speech at the late leader's shrine, positioning himself as the strongman of stability. But footage from the Assembly of Experts showed Mojtaba Khamenei's supporters forming a tight, silent bloc. They're not fighting with words, they're fighting with presence. The standoff is freezing critical decision-making at the worst possible time. And the clock is ticking on the ground. Pro-Iran militias in Iraq launched 2 separate drone attacks on U.S. facilities in Erbil. American forces responded with airstrikes, taking out 3 militia vehicles. It's tit for tat, but the tat is getting bigger every hour. So where's the White House in all this? Radio silence. And that's the weirdest part. The Pentagon is on high alert, but President Trump's Twitter feed is, about the economy. Then, this afternoon, a single, cryptic line during a press gaggle about trade, we have options on Iran. The White House is playing a dangerous game of chicken with Iran, and the whole world is watching the dashcam footage. POV, you're about to see the hidden math behind Trump's maximum pressure gamble, and it's less about nukes and more about an election year reset. Here's the lead. According to 3 senior administration officials speaking on deep background to CNN, President Trump has privately greenlit a series of escalating covert actions against Iranian assets across the Middle East. The goal? Not regime change. The goal is to provoke a controlled crisis. The calculation, per these sources, is brutally cynical. The thinking goes, force Iran into a dramatic but limited military response, something big enough to be a spectacle, like an attack on an empty base or a hijacked tanker. Then, Trump goes on TV as the tough guy who orders a proportionate and devastating counterstrike. The whole thing becomes a reality TV arc, the president versus the Ayatollah, wrapped in the flag. It's the ultimate political gaslighting, create the fire, then pose as the fireman. This isn't strategy, it's a season finale, one former NSC official now at a DC think tank told us. They want the ratings. They want the rally around the flag bump in the polls. They're betting Iran's leadership is too fractured and too scared of a real war to call the bluff. But the bluff is getting insanely expensive. New intel from a joint Mossad-Saudi report, obtained by The Intercept, reveals the hidden motive behind the silence on Mojtaba Khamenei. The Saudis and Israelis are secretly pushing Washington to let the Iranian succession crisis boil over. Their playbook? A weak, internally conflicted Iran, paralyzed by a power struggle between the Revolutionary Guard and a possibly inexperienced new supreme leader, is an Iran that can't project power in Yemen, Syria, or Lebanon. It's a decapitation strategy without the assassination, a European diplomat in Riyadh said. Let them tear themselves apart from the inside. Our job is just to give the pot a few stirs. And the stirring has begun. Overnight, a massive, unexplained cyber attack crippled Iran's main oil terminal at Karg Island. No one has claimed responsibility, but digital forensics traced by a London-based security firm point to a new piece of malware with hallmarks of both US and Israeli intelligence coding. A possible joint op. Tehran is screaming, act of war, but can't prove it. That's the point. Plausible deniability. Meanwhile, the new alliances are forming in the shadows. Satellite imagery from Planet Labs shows a sudden increase in military traffic between airbases in Azerbaijan and northern Iraq. Azerbaijan, a Shia-majority but fiercely secular and pro-Israel country, shares a long border with Iran. The survivor is talking. And the world just had its collective jaw hit the floor. His name is Amir al-Hassani. POV, you're scrolling through your feed and you see a grainy, shaky video from a safe house in Erbil, Iraq. The man staring into the camera is the sole survivor of the accidental drone strike on that convoy outside Mosul last month. The one that wiped out a family of 6. The official Pentagon line was regrettable collateral damage during a counterterrorism op. Turns out, that was a hit. And Amir isn't a civilian. He's a former mid-level officer in Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. And for the last 3 years, he's been a paid asset for Mossad. Yeah. Let that sink in. His testimony, delivered to a Swiss NGO acting as an intermediary, is a 200-page digital bomb. He details a clandestine Iranian program, codenamed Project Zulfikar, to weaponize commercial drone technology with chemical dispersal units. Small-scale, deniable, designed for proxy forces. The Mosul convoy. It was transporting a key Iranian engineer for that project. The U.S. drone strike that killed his family was, according to Amir, fed faulty intel by a double agent within Israeli ranks who wanted the whole thing, engineer, asset, and family, erased. The gaslighting is next level. Tehran is calling Amir a fabrication of the Zionist entity. The Pentagon is in full, we cannot confirm the authenticity, mode. But the London-based security firm, Argus Shield, that first traced the Karg Island malware, has now verified the digital footprint of Amir's dossier. Their report dropped 12 hours ago. The technical metadata and cryptographic signatures present a high-confidence match to known IRGC communication protocols, it states. Translation, this is real. And now, the covert war goes hot. Assassination attempts. The first one happened before the video even finished uploading. A two-man hit team, suspected of being Quds Force operatives, tried to breach the Erbil safe house. They were taken out by Kurdish Peshmerga forces, who, conveniently, had just received unspecified tactical intelligence from U.S. advisors in the region. Covert operations are intensifying. According to a source in Turkish intelligence, a key Iranian nuclear scientist in Natanz has vanished, not to the west, but into a black site run by a third party. Everyone's betting it's the Saudis, working off a Mossad tip. Meanwhile, the cyber front is exploding. Hacktivist group, Shadow Moses, just dumped a terabyte of emails from the Azerbaijani Ministry of Defense. The emails show frantic logistical planning for joint aerial exercises with Israel, specifically using airbases that put F-35s a 6-minute flight from the Iranian border. Baku is furious, calling it a criminal fabrication. The target isn't Tehran. It never was. According to a joint Mossad-CIA assessment leaked to The Intercept this morning, the ultimate objective is the complete and permanent dismantling of the Iranian regime's command and control structure. Not a decapitation strike. A full-body annihilation. The plan, codenamed Scythe, involves simultaneous kinetic and cyber strikes designed to collapse the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, the regular military, and the intelligence apparatus within a 72-hour window. The global crisis. It's not a risk. It's the point. The countdown to war is literal. U.S. Central Command has issued a "prepare to deploy" order to 5 carrier strike groups. The clock on the Pentagon's main concourse is reportedly ticking down from 96 hours. Diplomacy is in its last-ditch Karen phase. The French president, in a move described by aides as performative desperation, is on a supersonic hop between Riyadh, Tel Aviv, and Doha. His proposal? A grand regional security framework. The response from an Israeli cabinet member, speaking off-record to Haaretz, he's bringing a vegan cupcake to a gunfight. Meanwhile, Russia and China have jointly called for an emergency UN Security Council session, accusing the U.S. and its regional proxies of orchestrating a casus belli. The U.S. ambassador's retort, caught on a hot mic, they're just mad they didn't think of it first. The cyber blackout in southeastern Iran is now total. NetBlocks confirms a complete internet and telecommunications collapse across the provinces of Hormuzgan, Sistan, and Balochistan, and Kerman. This isn't a hack. It's a pre-landscape. Satellite imagery from Planet Labs shows unusual vehicular convoys, matching known IRGC Quds Force patterns, dispersing from major bases and moving toward hardened mountain facilities. They know what's coming. A source within the IRGC, communicating via a one-time encrypted burst, told Reuters, the Zionists and the Americans wish for a war. They will receive a fire that consumes their dreams. In a stunning twist, the third party running the black site holding the missing Iranian scientist has been identified. It's not the Saudis. It's a private military corporation, Greystone Solutions, registered in Delaware but operating out of a former French Foreign Legion post in Djibouti. Their client? A consortium of Gulf states. The POV here is pure gaslighting. If the scientist confesses to a clandestine weapons program under private interrogation, the sponsoring governments maintain plausible deniability. The extracted intel, we're told, is the final piece of the target package for Scythe. The diplomatic race hit a wall. The French president's jet was denied overflight clearance by Jordan, a key U.S. The Scythe strike never happened. That's the POV from the Situation Room, at least. According to senior Pentagon officials speaking on Deep Background, the entire target package was scrubbed 72 minutes before the planned launch window. The reason? The smoking gun intel from the Iranian scientist held at the Greystone Black site was, in the words of one 4-star general, garbage. A complete fabrication under duress. The scientist, Dr. Armin Farrokhzad, had been fed a narrative by his corporate interrogators and simply repeated it to stop the pain. The gaslighting almost lit a global fire. The fallout was immediate and brutal, but not on any battlefield. The real war moved to the boardrooms and the back channels. Greystone Solutions CEO was found dead in his Dubai penthouse from an apparent heart attack. The company's assets were frozen by a coordinated action from the U.S. Treasury and the EU. The Gulf State Consortium behind the contract. They've gone radio silent. The new balance of power isn't between nations, it's between nations and the unaccountable private armies they hire. And right now, the nations are furious. In Paris, the Élysée Palace is calling it a diplomatic miracle of restraint. The French president's jet, after being forced into an unscheduled refueling in Cyprus, finally landed in Tehran. No flags, no anthems. Just 8 hours of closed-door talks with the Supreme National Security Council. The deal: Iran allows unprecedented, verifiable inspections of the sites named in the Greystone Confession. In return, the European signatories to the JCPOA trigger the dispute resolution mechanism to snap back pre-2015 sanctions on the United States for violating the deal's terms. The ultimate diplomatic middle finger. Washington is now the one isolated. So what's the aftermath? Let's break it down reality TV style, because this is the reunion episode where everyone gets exposed. The soldier, Captain Mark Rios, is facing a general court-martial at Fort Bragg. Not for disobeying an order. The strike order never came. He's charged with conduct unbecoming and violation of cyber policy for his unauthorized data dive that uncovered the Greystone Pentagon backchannel. His defense? He was following the commander's intent to find the truth. The JAG prosecutor calls it a Hollywood fantasy. Rios's wife has filed for divorce. His new beginning? Maybe a book deal from a prison cell. The spy, Anya Petrova, is gone. Vanished from her safe house in Vienna. Her last known communication was a dead drop to a Wall Street Journal reporter containing the full financial trail from the Gulf states to Greystone to 3 offshore accounts linked to senior Pentagon procurement officials. The reporter won a Pulitzer.